a week. The sight of him made Todd feel nostalgic for the good old days, when overseas deployments transformed beer-swilling cadets into fighter pilots. Ever since 9/11, the U.S. Air Force funneled bozos like Brown into the domestic drone program. The sum of his qualifications was the capacity to wield joysticks like a third thumb, the ultimate bionic weapon. He was the video game equivalent of a pinball wizard. Todd knew full well the comparison dated him. In his day, pilots understood not only how to kill, but also the gravity of killing. Brown was a hardcore gamer who thought drone warfare was a trip and a half. His exact words. He conducted himself more like a kid at a PlayStation than a warrior at the ready, acne and all. It didn't help that virtual cockpits were designed to resemble game consoles to accommodate the likes of Dirk Brown. But a Star Wars aficionado does not a pilot make. Todd ducked down the soda aisle. He frankly didn't know which was worse, commanding a squad of punks or running into them at the supermarket. Either way, professionalism was bound to erode. Not that Brown was to blame. Martial ethics relied on the imminent danger of getting your butt blown off. Flying drones from the air-conditioned comfort of a double-wide didn't exactly inspire valor and honor. For that matter, neither did running errands for your wife on the way home from what felt more like a desk job than active duty. His cell rang again.
"Where are you?" "Like you don't know? Don't forget the milk."
She must have mounted a surveillance camera in his head. Either that or they'd been married long enough to read each other's minds. Even when he was stationed in Iraq, she always sensed when he was scheduled to fly particularly perilous missions. She'd call, pretending there was a medical emergency, so they could have phone sex. Marital telepathy. He missed those days. Living in the suburbs of Las Vegas certainly wasn't the life he'd envisioned at the Air Force Academy. Drones were a game changer, that's for sure, let alone autism. Maybe things would eventually calm down at home so he and Rose could pick up where they left off when Max was diagnosed. Their love was still there somewhere, underneath all the bullshit. Not that he blamed Max, poor kid. No one was to blame, which made it that much harder to swallow. Max's diagnosis brought out the best in Rose. She rose to the occasion with all the passion of aroused motherhood. It brought out the worst of the worst in Todd. He felt helpless, cheated, angry. He took it out on the doctor, which was obnoxious but not unwarranted. Dr. Dillard never should have been allowed to practice medicine. He had the bedside manner of an accountant. Max started screaming the minute he laid eyes on him, a predictable enough response. He'd been screaming pretty much non-stop since roughly his 3rd birthday. But he really let loose around Dr. Dillard. Neurological disorder notwithstanding, Max was a damned good judge of character. Their regular pediatrician diagnosed one thing after another before admitting he was out of his league. Actually, he probably just wanted to avoid being the bearer of bad news. They had to consult a specialist at University Medical Center in downtown Las Vegas. Fancy clinic, fancy doctors, specialists in bad news. At 10:37 on Wednesday, March 4th, Dr. Dillard ushered Rose and Todd into his office. Diagnosis Day, or D-Day as Todd always referred to it, constituted the beginning of an interminably long, unthinkably costly siege with infinitesimal odds of prevailing against the enemy. Dr. Dillard didn't look either one of them in the eye. He shook Todd's hand, but not Rose's, which pissed her off. He didn't apologize for being 37 minutes late, which pissed Todd off. His desk was obscenely large, and there was absolutely nothing on it except a pink folder. Pink. He peered at them over the top of his half-glasses. The crown of his head had obviously been polished that morning, an affectation that further undermined his credibility. He opened the folder and delivered the diagnosis with deadpan certainty. "Your son has autism."
"Are you sure?"
Rose asked. "His symptoms are unmistakable, Mrs. Barron." They waited for him to continue, to clarify, to soften the blow with a favorable prognosis. A grandfather clock tolled the quarter hour. Todd checked his watch, 10:38. Everywhere he went